Hello, and thank you for joining me today here on Christ Connection Ministries International. I am Frank Blaylock, your host. Wanted to get on really quickly today, hopefully for just a few minutes. Dinner is almost ready, but I wanted to get on here real quick and give the devil a black eye. How about you? Will you help me give the devil a black eye? Let's all get together and black all of his eyes, okay? I'm telling you today that you are about to throw a party. Things are about to turn around for you. You're about to come into your season of celebration. That's a powerful story that you've read maybe 100 times in 1 Samuel 3 and 6. And David was greatly distressed, for the people spake of stoning him, because the soul of the people was grieved, even every man for his son and for his daughters. But David encouraged himself in the Lord his God. So what is the warrior king in you going to do when you're at risk yourself of being destroyed by the very people you lead? That can happen to ministers. That can happen to you in a corporate situation. The people you lead suddenly turn on you, and now you're the biggest enemy of all. What would you do if the one you trusted no longer trusted you? That when they begin to whisper behind your back and say you've lost touch with reality, and they blame you because things are not going the way it looked like they were going for a while, and they're ready to kill you because they cannot handle their own grief. When they forget the good you've done and are blinded by their fear and their grief, when the hand that feeds the dog gets bitten by the dog that's been fed. You see, David at this time resorted to an old, tried, and proven weapon that even his men didn't know he carried because he didn't show it a whole lot. But he had a secret weapon, and this is the time he pulls it out so he can win a victory. This weapon had always worked for him before, and it was about to work again. He encouraged himself in the Lord. He began to remember and rehearse the goodness of the Lord. And this emboldened his own heart. It stimulated his faith and his confidence in the faithfulness of God. He lifted his face up toward heaven. He cried out to God for understanding and acknowledged that his strength was in the Lord only. He cheered himself up. Kind of hard to cheer yourself up when everybody's about to kill you, but somehow that weapon was working for David. He got himself right first because he too was greatly distressed. His wives were gone. His possessions were gone. The city of Ziklag had been burned. Everybody had lost everything. So David had to get himself straightened up. He had to get his focus right so he could lead this battle and take back everything that had been lost. There may be a time when you have got to take your mind off of the immediate problem and give all your energy to building yourself up in the most holy faith, praying in the Holy Spirit, crying out to God. Set the problem aside as much as you can for a moment and then just pray and worship and glorify the Lord. So what is to be your biggest takeaway from this story of David? Everything is not lost. That's one takeaway. Just because the devil has painted a picture and it looks like everything is lost, it doesn't mean that's so, because this picture was awful. Their home city was burned with fire. Even David's wife, Abigail, had to be a very precious wife of his. She was missing. All the cattle were missing. All the children were missing. Anybody that had been left in the city when the Amalekites came, they pillaged the city. They burned it to the ground, and the picture is, it is over. We've lost everything. I'm telling you, you may have been in a place. You may be in a place that the picture is you have lost everything. But I tell you to do what David did. Encourage yourself in the Lord. Because this is what David had to do. He had to change his own mind, as I said. But that meant changing his reality. Because the people around him, man, just like any of us, when you're that devastated, you want to cry out. You may even want to kill somebody. Please don't do that. But these men were ready to kill David. They were already whispering, we can catch him to the side and we'll stone him. I mean, all this is his fault anyway. If we hadn't been following him, we wouldn't be in the trouble. We'd have our families. And of course, we know that's grief talking. That's loss talking. Don't let your grief and your loss cause you to lose your blessing in the Lord. So David had to change his reality. And he did that by encouraging himself. He tossed aside his distress and asked God for an answer. And God gave him an instruction. Told him, go get your stuff back, David. I'm just giving you my version of it now. For indeed you will prevail and you will recover all. You see, there's nothing like a plan from God to activate you and to encourage you in victory. Indeed, can you see how the situation can turn around if only one person encourages themselves in the Lord? Pastor, if you encourage yourself in the Lord, it can change your whole congregation. Businessman, if you encourage yourself in the Lord, it can change the whole business growth pattern and turn it around for good. I'm saying God needs one man to encourage himself, one woman, and then God can do something, because once you encourage yourself in the Lord, now you can hear about the plan that God has. And so, of course, while they're here suffering, the devil's out there, the Amalekites out there, man, they're partying it up. They've got their wives, they've got their children, they've got their cattle, they've got their gold, they've got their silver, and they just left everything in a total mess. And so they're partying. I'm going to cut the short a little bit of the story, but we know he went out and pursued them and found them, and they found them. They were sitting back there, man. They were drinking, they were partying. All of a sudden, David swooped in on them like a horde of bees. And that's what the Lord is saying to you today. You're about to come against the enemy who's taken your stuff, and like 1,000 bees, you're going to begin to bite and sting until you take it all back. Now, they are the ones fleeing, leaving everything. And the thing is, they're not only leaving everything they stole from you, they're leaving their stuff as well, just to save their hide. So God's going to give you back your stuff, going to give you the thieves' stuff, and you're going to be richer and better than you were before. And you're going now to celebrate. It is your turn to throw a party, your turn to give gifts to others, your turn to share the good fortune of Jesus Christ. I hope we've given the devil a black eye. I hope I've encouraged you to go and take your stuff back. I hope I have encouraged you to take your eye off the devastation for a moment. Look up to God, because He will paint you another picture, and He'll show you how to turn your situation around. God bless you. Have a great day in the Lord today.